Hello and welcome everybody. A very warm welcome from all of us here. Good morning. It's really nice to see so many of you here. You probably know by now, and you certainly have been emailed maybe, but I'm Maria Economou. I'm a senior lecturer in museum studies at the University of Glasgow, and I have a joint post here at the Hunterian, but also at information studies at the School of Humanities. I'm also I have many hats, and I'll be wearing and taking them off and on throughout the conference. I'm also a vice president of Universeum and the vice chair of the program committee of the conference. It's really, really nice to see so many of you here from so many different countries, not just from all over Europe, as we initially expected, but from all over the world. I counted last night, I did. It's at least 19 countries, from Canada to Greece, from Australia to Norway. So it's really nice that you all made the effort and we're coming all here together here in Glasgow. This Universeum conference has broken all the records, and you'll allow me to say these things, and my other fellow board members will laugh while I do this, but it's been more number of proposals submitted ever, I think. It's been greater number of presenters included, and most importantly, I think, the greater number of people in the audience. We're a little bit a victim of our success. We didn't plan of this at the beginning, but it's very nice to have the facilities that we think can cope, just probably. And it's really nice. When we were discussing with my fellow members of the Universeum board, they started talking about the Glasgow effect. I'm not sure if Mark later, he's much more qualified than me, our keynote speaker, to talk about this in a very different context, the original context of the term. But in our case here, I think there was something that brought a lot of us together that I think we will explore. There's a need in the community, I think, for us to work together. And there's also something already happening, and us just helping to connect the dots for a lot of the rest of you from around the world working in this area to come and discuss and exchange views the next few days. The conference, I think, is really truly interdisciplinary, and the combination from different types and sizes of universities and related collections, and is the one with the highest number of UK delegates attending so far a Universeum event. It was one of our aims as well, and the time and the period, the socio-political and economic situation in this very strange post-Brexit times, we thought it's more important, maybe more important than ever, that we cultivate and strengthen these links, hence the topic of this year's conference on collaboration, co-curation, co-creation. The three COs will be talking a lot around the conference. I'm really rubbish at chemistry. It's nothing to do with carbon trioxide. It's less poisonous, hopefully, and much more important ingredients for all of us to be working with. We have a packed program in the next few days, and we have different types of sessions. We've got 15-minute papers, we've got 5-minute papers, we've got posters, we've got working groups, tours, as well as various social events. Which is the reason we've asked our chairs, and I want all of you, all of us, to respect this. We need to be quite strict with time in order to give everybody the opportunity and for the program to go to plan. We are very ecological and green, and it wasn't just to save money. You'll notice in your lovely tote there is no printed book of abstracts, but we've been working really hard, and it's a team of really enthusiastic volunteers, not just colleagues and staff that I will thank in a minute, that helped to put all the abstracts on the web. You probably have noticed, and it should work really well. So you have everything, speakers' biographies, the latest changes in the program. All the abstracts, as I said, should be available on the website. So, because the program, I don't know if you discovered my wonderful thought, it's probably hidden behind your nameplate. If you haven't, or you were not told, ta-ta, this is your program. You need probably glasses, just because of all the previous things, many speakers, complex program. You should have everything there, but for something like this to appear on paper, we need to send it to the printer a few weeks in advance, and there have been a few people who didn't get in there, and the travel grants and things like that. There are a couple of changes. That's why I'm saying the web program is always going to be the most up-to-date, although this is also pretty accurate. just to keep in mind. And talking about the web all the time, to remind you, most of you actually, I suspect, will need Eduroam and should work really smoothly. If it doesn't work, don't blame the Glasgow IT team for that at all. Blame your own host university, because we've tested it and it's okay, RN, and for Eduroam, if I understand it right, to work. You might need an email to your technical support, but in any case, we're not only relying on Eduroam. You have BT Open Access, Open Zone. You just need to select it and then open a web browser and say, click a button to start the Wi-Fi happening. No password, no username. So in case you need to be checking the program or things like that throughout, I know some of us cannot live if we're not on the internet. So you might have seen already at the bottom of here and the posters, the hashtag is Universeum 2018. Don't ask us why we didn't say the 2 digits and made it Universeum 18. It is 2018 now, that's it. And at least Twitter has increased the number of characters. So if you want to tweet, please don't forget, that's it. All the coffee breaks and the lunches will be provided outside where you were, apart from days when it's marked differently. But today, this is our space, and well, we'll be having the breaks as well. At 5:30 today, we'll go across to the main campus for the Hunterian Museum welcome reception. It's less than 10 minutes walk. It's probably 5 if you're fast, but we will have some of those wonderful volunteers and staff, which is why we wear the bright orange things. Orange normally should mean you can ask us, we should know, and we're very happy to take you and show you the way, but I suspect we were trying to plan this. There's so many of us. If we trickle through, I think it will be a human chain, so you'll find your way really easily to the museum if it's your first time in Glasgow. So they also have Ask Me bright red lanyards, our volunteers. And starting to talk about volunteers and the people behind, you'll have to bear with us. All the few short welcome speeches, they'll have to have some thank yous. But I think you realize for all of us to be here today, there was a lot of work behind the scenes. So I would like to start by thanking my fellow members of the board. Without them, we wouldn't really be here. Sébastien Soubiran from the University of Strasbourg, Marlene Mouliou from the National and Capodistrian University of Athens, Esther Berles from the University of Amsterdam, Frédéric Henri Kazan from Sorbonne Universities, who were really patient with me. I'm a relatively newbie to the Universeum team, and I was full of ideas. I wanted to change everything. And they were always really open, really supportive, and did a lot of hard work for many months across Skype. But some of them also managed to come and visit and talk also face-to-face. And we really appreciated that, because things like that cannot happen by a few people or even a few organizations. It's always teamwork. I also owe a big thank you to our own team at the Hunterian. Lee Scott is the person at the registration, the events manager outside, who made things happen for a lot of the little details that need attention. She was assisted by Eleanor Capaldi, who was helping with the registration, Harriet Gaston with the website, Yvonne Struel, I won't forget, after hours driving to get the badges and the holders who hadn't arrived, and a lot of little details like that. Monica Callahan, our head of education, she helped co-organize the pre-conference workshops. So if you see some of us looking a little bit exhausted but enthusiastic, it's because we started on Monday, really nice few days. If you've been following on Twitter, all the workshop participants are here, and you'll hear later, so I won't say much more. The results of those 2 days, they'll say themselves. It will come from the horse's mouth, so to speak, because that's another first, the way we're organizing the workshop. But I wanted to thank our own University of Glasgow PhD students who took part and helped us, one of those COs, co-curate, co-organize it, Alicia Hughes and Marta Ines, big thanks. There were also other staff and colleagues from the Hunterian, Ruth Fletcher, student engagement officer, Nikki Reeves helped an awful lot with the tours, Malcolm Chapman, our head of collections management, Lizzie O'Neill, Jane Stewart, the whole collections management team, the way they made use of the resources upstairs and really helped and supported and edited and reviewed abstracts and so on. Our art curators, Lola Sanchez and Dominic Patterson, for the tours some of you will experience. And big thanks to colleagues at the university beyond the Hunterian, like Julie Gardam, the head of special collections, and all her team for providing access to materials already, and will continue to do so for the 3 tours you're going to have as an option for tomorrow and the day after. I wanted to come back to our volunteers, and you will allow me to thank every one of them personally, because they behaved much more professionally than I expected from any volunteer. And I don't think it was just, I hope it was a really good learning experience, but it was also valuable for us. Sarah Gamble, you probably all heard of. She's dealing with all the tricky, supporting us with the GDPR and the forms and the consent. I'll say a little bit more, but always with patience and grace, and it was great help to have her. Michaela Ferguson, who's our social media whiz, also helped a lot with editing abstracts and putting things up on the web. Claire Emery did an amazing job with the website, making sure all these links were actually working, more than I was able to do. And we have the 3 musketeers for the technical team, Nancy Nee, Barbora Tihakova, and Rachel Boyd, as well as all others helping all around, Metaxia Adami, Rachel Brandenburg, India Divers, Kristin Dovishak, Mackenzie Floyd for the posters, together with Lorinda Fraser, James Gallagher, Sasha Natiuk, Kirsty Meek, Chloe Pagani, Matilda Pedersen-Solberg, Eleanor Small, and Bella Zink. Quite an army, and we needed every single one of them. So thank you all for that. And going back to the program, on Thursday, after we do a lot of the talks and the discussions and the posters, you need to put on your dancing shoes for the civil reception by the Lord Provost, and we only, I think it's thanks to the hospitality and the generosity of UMIS that we'll have a Ceilidh band. So we'll be hosted by the Mayor, for those of you, the Lord Provost, that's the Mayor of the City of Glasgow. And then we'll have the Ceilidh by UMIS, the University Museums Group in Scotland. So I wanted to thank both of them. Don't judge me on my Scottish dancing, though. You have to kind of lead. On Friday, we have the only partly parallel session of the conference with a series of tours in the morning, started at 9 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, they will continue until 12:30. And at 10, they will start being parallel with working groups happening in this building. So I wanted to remind you, and I want your help a little bit with this, when you go at breaks at the registration. I know our Eventbrite form was very long and very complicated, and you were patient with it to accommodate the complexity of all of this. So you need to double check what you booked, and you need to think, if you want a tour that's after 10, you cannot be 2 places at the same time. Maybe it wasn't very obvious in the program, so if you've already put your name down for a working group, and you also put your name down for a tour, you can only manage one barely if you wake up early and you start the 9 before 10, because you need to be here for 10. The working group leaders and the colleagues who've been organizing the 3 working groups, we have a 3rd new one this year, have been working really hard. And they want to be very inclusive and open, but it's not nice if people start coming 30, 40, 50 minutes later. It is a working group. So have a think. If you have a hard choice, both are very valuable, important things, the tours and the working groups, but it was impossible to accommodate everything. So you have a little bit of time, but go up towards the registration if you haven't already done so, and make sure you let the teams there know what you're doing for Friday. After the conference, we have the trips to museums and collections in the rest of Scotland, and there will be a UMIS desk for our colleagues outside on Thursday. In case you haven't already registered for a trip, there are some spaces, especially for the Aberdeen one. As you need to check with them what's the latest, because most things have been double booked, sold out, they got larger buses, and then those weren't enough. So you need to see, I think there are a few places for some of these things, and there will be a presentation by UMIS on Thursday, so you can go afterwards and make sure that you have a place if you haven't already registered. We will be live streaming and video recording, as there were many, many more who wrote, emailed, wanted to be in Glasgow but couldn't for a variety of reasons, and we wanted to give them the opportunity to share this. At the same time, we respect, obviously, some people don't want to be photographed, recorded, so that's why we've been sending so much in advance, trying to accommodate this. But I want you to help us a little bit, and so the orange stickers, not the whole orange thing, but an orange sticker on your badge means to show to the photographer and other people you don't want to be recorded or photographed, but if you see a photographer, try to be out of the camera's way. We will try as much as possible, but it's a very busy space, so it will be very useful if you help us in this direction. The conference is free, as you all know. One way you can support Universeum is by renewing or getting a new membership if you don't already have one, which is very, very low cost. Esther Bellis, who is our secretary, and Frederic, our treasurer, will be out on a Universeum desk on Thursday. So that's the most obvious, easy way that you can support the network and help with its sustainability. Important, less exciting things, toilets. As you go out, on your left, you probably have seen the big doors near the registration desk. That's the National Library of Scotland, one of our the three important partners in the building, the Scottish Moving Image Archive. So as you're facing their big white doors, the toilets are on your left. There has been already a fire drill, the regular one, so we don't expect any for today. So if the fire alarm does go off, we need to go out, and the best fire exit is as you're facing the lift, your right-hand side there steps down, that takes you outside the building, and we need to always, the assembly point is at the front of Kelvin Hall. I think that's my housekeeping. I hope you will enjoy the numerous opportunities the conference offers, not only during the formal sessions, but also outside those to engage with others and meet new colleagues. I'm a relative newbie, as I said, to Universeum myself. It's only a couple of conferences I've managed to go to. And I hope that the way it struck me the first time when I went to the Amsterdam one 2 years ago, you will also appreciate it now again in Glasgow, and that is the really warm and inclusive atmosphere of the Universeum community. So I will now pass on to David Duncan, who, apart from being the Chief Operating Officer and University of Glasgow Secretary, he started life as a historian. So we're very happy that we have someone in this role who gets us and understands the importance of objects, collections, and associated evidence. So, David, after that introduction, you have to say something about collections and how wonderful they are, I think. And if you don't mind being recorded, thank you.